Today's reflection is on a very familiar gospel passage that you just read. The passage where the Herodians and the Pharisees were trying to ensnare Jesus with a question. In fact, it begins by saying, Gospel of Mark, some Pharisees and Herodians went to Jesus to ensnare him in speech. What does it mean to ensnare somebody? Well, we know what a snare is. It's a trap. So you get two of the religious groups, the Herodians and the Pharisees, tried to trap Jesus. And what was the trap? Well, again, because they're always looking for a reason to arrest him, a reason to discredit him in front of his people. And so they thought they had come up with the perfect snare, or trap. And so they asked him a question. They said, is it lawful to pay the census tax to Caesar or not? Should we pay or should we not pay? Now, this is not a Roman coin, but they probably took a coin similar to this and they showed it to Jesus. And they asked him, is it lawful to pay a census tax to Caesar? Now, the coin that they would use would have had Caesar's image on it. Or not? Should we pay it or not? Well, what was the trap that they were trying to put Jesus in, trying to discredit him from his people? Well, if Jesus said to them, yes, you should pay the tax, then he would be discrediting himself amongst the people for a couple of reasons. The coin, because it had Caesar's head on it, and Caesar considered himself a god, so to be using a coin with their god's head on it, Caesar's head on it, would be that the Jewish people would have to go against the very command that Moses gave them. Do not worship put any other gods before you. And so to use that coin with Caesar's head would be recognizing Caesar as a god. And it would be the people would have been offensive to the Jewish people to use the coin. So if Jesus said, yes, you can use the coin with Caesar's head on it, it would indicate that he approved them acknowledging that Caesar is a god. But if on the other hand he said, no, you don't have to, no, you shouldn't give to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, don't use that coin, then the Herodians and the Pharisees would be very quick to report Jesus to the Roman authorities and say, Jesus is advocating sedition. He doesn't want us to pay taxes. You can imagine today if somebody said that when we're not going to pay our taxes. So you can imagine how far that would go today. Well, it wouldn't go much further back to the time of Jesus. So Jesus was kind of caught in a catch-22 situation. Does he discredit himself before his own people, the Jewish people, or do they present him as an advocate for sedition against the Roman Empire? So the Sadducees and the Pharisees and the Herodians were quite pleased with their trap, their ensnaring him. Well, as so often with Jesus said his response to them was to give to Caesar the things that are Caesar's and to God the things that are God. What did he mean? Well, to say to give to Caesar the things that belongs to Caesar is, yes, we have an obligation. They had an obligation back then, and we have an obligation now to support our government in ways that we can support it, that we should support it. You give to Caesar those things that are his. However, it's far more critical to give to God the things that are God's. Now, what do we mean by that? Jesus gave us a commandment. He said the first and foremost of all commandments is that you love God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul. With every ounce of your being should be loving God. And with that love, we should love our neighbor. And nothing at all can get between that. Nothing. That's giving to God the things that are God's, which pretty much is everything. It doesn't diminish or discredit the fact that we have to support our government in ways that we need to, but never when it conflicts with our love for God, adhering to the gospel, and by loving our neighbor. Everything should be done in light of those two commandments, love of God and our neighbor. And no president, no political system, no authority at all can we put before God. Absolutely not. And so Jesus once again really did answer their question. Probably not in the way that they were hoping. However, the last line of the gospel tells us that they were pretty impressed. It said, when Jesus said, repay to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God. And the last line tells us they were utterly amazed at him. Think about that. When they listened to him give to God the things that are God's, and the things give to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, they understood exactly what Jesus meant. Nothing can come before God. Absolutely nothing. Everything should be seen in reflection to and light of the gospel and those two commands. But that also means that, yes, we do have responsibility to give to Caesar, or to our government, those things we can, as long as they don't contradict the great commands. Love of God, of our whole being, and love of neighbor. And may we be, as Mark recorded in his gospel, that we will be, like them, be utterly amazed that once again Jesus was not going to be entrapped, ensnared. Now tomorrow's reflection, you'll find that the Sadducees now come up, and you'll hear in tomorrow's gospel they tried to ensnare Jesus with a different dilemma. But we'll wait till tomorrow to hear about that. Thanks for listening.